In the Crooklyn, 1994, reveals what most fans never figured out. A 9-year-old girl, 4 wild brothers, one Brooklyn summer that never really ended. Crooklyn was released in 1994, and most people still think they know what it is. A Spike Lee film about growing up. But here's what they missed. The real director of this story never got top billing. The real pain behind it was never printed on the poster. And at least one person in this cast vanished so completely that 30 years of searching has turned up nothing. Before this video is over, you will see this film completely differently. If you've been sleeping on Crooklyn, wake up. Subscribe to Remembered Lives channel and hit the bell, because we find the stories hiding inside the stories everyone thinks they already know. Spike Lee, Snuffy. Before Spike Lee became a cinematic legend, he was just a kid from Bedford-Stuyvesant staring at the streets that would one day fill his films. Born March 20th, 1957 in Atlanta, he moved to Brooklyn as a child, and Brooklyn never left him. He earned his MFA from NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, where his thesis film, Joe's Bed-Stuy Barbershop, We Cut Heads, won a Student Academy Award and became the first student film shown at Lincoln Center's New Directors/New Films Festival. His feature debut, She's Gotta Have It, 1986, cost $175,000 and grossed over $7 million. What followed was a decade of films that refused to let America look away. Do the Right Thing, 1989, Malcolm X, 1992, Clockers, 1995, He Got Game, 1998. He received accolades including an Academy Award, a BAFTA Award, 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, and 2 Peabody Awards. In 2015, he received an honorary Oscar for Lifetime Achievement. In 2019, he won his first competitive Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay for Black Klansman. Then came Crooklyn in 1994, and something shifted. The man known for confrontation turned inward. He didn't just direct this film, he excavated it from the soil of his own childhood, co-writing it alongside his sister Joey and brother Singkay, shaped by their shared grief over losing their mother Jacqueline to cancer. He considers the movie a reflection of what the family went through, based on the understanding of Joey, Singkay, and himself as children. In Crooklyn, Lee appears on screen as Snuffy, a minor, glue-sniffing neighborhood bully who torments local kids. It's a telling choice. The auteur willingly cast himself as a background antagonist inside his own memory. That humility is the film's quiet signature. Today, he remains a tenured professor at NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, where generations of filmmakers now learn their craft from the man who once sat in those same classrooms. Joey Lee, Aunt Maxine. There is a version of Crooklyn that almost never existed. A Nickelodeon pilot that got rejected. A story that could have been forgotten. That it became one of the most intimate American films of the 1990s is because of one woman, Joey Lee. The concept and story for Crooklyn were created entirely by Joey Lee in her first screenplay. Before Spike ever touched it, she and her brother Singkay had already pitched it to Nickelodeon as a children's series, and the network turned it down. Only then did Spike step in and make it a film. The story was not fiction, it was memory. The 9-year-old girl at the center, Troy Carmichael, the only daughter fighting for space in a house full of brothers, was Joey herself. Every argument about money, every moment of chaos, every layer of that brownstone reflected her actual childhood. Joey conceived the screenplay as a celebration of her Brooklyn childhood, and together with her brothers, developed the story as a tribute to their mother, who died when Joey was 14 years old. On set, Joie's fingerprints were everywhere. She was there every single day coaching young Zelda Harris, teaching her what it felt like to be the only girl surrounded by brothers, how to walk, how to hold herself, how to fire back. She also insisted on a specific architectural detail. The family brownstone would have no interior doors, just as in her real childhood home, a detail that explained Troy's desperate hunger for privacy. Joie herself appears in the film playing Aunt Maxine, and in a heartbreaking postscript she has shared publicly, to this day she has only been able to watch the finished film once, at its world premiere. The grief it carries is still too close to sit through again. Zelda Harris, Troy Carmichael. Over 1,000 girls auditioned. Only one walked away with the role. Zelda Harris beat out more than 1,000 other children for the role of Troy Carmichael in Spike Lee's Crooklyn. She was 8 years old, had never carried a feature film before, and she got the part by doing something most child actors were trained not to do. She just acted like herself. Harris began her career as an infant in television commercials and became a recurring performer on Sesame Street before her breakthrough in Crooklyn. The road to the role wasn't easy. She went through 9 separate callbacks and at one point showed up to audition with a fever over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. When she finally met Spike Lee in person, she walked straight up to him, shook his hand, said, "It's a pleasure to meet you," then spent the rest of the audition pretending he wasn't in the room so she wouldn't freeze up. Only after she and her father stepped into the elevator and turned the corner did she finally let herself scream. What made her performance extraordinary wasn't just talent, it was liberation. She later said that at most auditions for black girls at the time, there was silent pressure to arrive pressed, polished, and speak in a soft, pleasing tone. Crooklyn was the first time she didn't have to do any of that. She could simply exist as a real kid. Her performance earned her a Young Artist Award nomination and praise for her sharp, observant work as the only girl in a family of brothers. She returned to work with Spike Lee again in He Got Game, 1998, also appeared in The Babysitter's Club, 1995, and The Piano Lesson, 1995, alongside Alfre Woodard. Then she made a choice that surprised Hollywood entirely. She graduated from Princeton University as a member of the class of 2007, and as of 2021 works as a teacher. She also holds an M.Ed from UCLA. She fronted the neo-soul band Zelda and the Lolos and plays both piano and saxophone. Troy Carmichael was fearless, so it turns out is Zelda Harris. Alfre Woodard, Carolyn Carmichael. Alfre Woodard didn't just play a mother in Crooklyn. She became one, on screen and off. The story of how she got the role is classic Spike Lee. He left a message on her answering machine, essentially daring her to come to Brooklyn. She took the bait, and what she delivered as Carolyn Carmichael, a schoolteacher holding an entire household together by sheer force of love and exhaustion, became one of the most grounded maternal performances in American cinema. Behind the scenes, Woodard made a deliberate choice in how she treated the young cast. She pulled the reins tighter on the boys, but gave Zelda Harris room to be fiercer. Her reason was direct. She didn't believe in extinguishing the fire of a young girl, especially one surrounded by that many brothers. Known for portraying strong-willed and dignified roles on stage and screen, she has received 4 Emmy Awards, a Golden Globe Award, 3 Screen Actors Guild Awards, as well as nominations for an Academy Award and a BAFTA Award. Her Oscar nomination came for Cross Creek, 1983. Her Emmy wins span Hill Street Blues, 1984, LA Law, 1987, Miss Evers Boys, 1997, and The Practice, 2003. Her film work is equally formidable. Passion Fish, 1992, 12 Years a Slave, 2013, Captain America: Civil War, 2016, and Luke Cage, 2016 to 2018, in the Marvel Universe. In 2020, the New York Times ranked her among the 25 greatest actors of the 21st century. She has said that what made Crooklyn so special was showing a black family simply as they are, complex, funny, loving, and struggling, and that audiences from Belgium to Brazil have told her the film reminded them of their own childhoods. That's what truth does. Delroy Lindo, Woody Carmichael. When Spike Lee called Delroy Lindo and offered him the role of Woody Carmichael, no audition, no screen test, just a phone call, it was the first time in Lindo's career that a director had extended that level of trust. He later said it gave him an immense confidence that stayed with him for decades. Born November 18, 1952, in Lewisham, London, to Jamaican parents, Lindo earned a Tony Award nomination for his performance in August Wilson's Joe Turner's Come and Gone on Broadway in 1988. He had already played the terrifying West Indian Archie in Spike Lee's Malcolm X, 1992, so casting him as a gentle, struggling jazz musician in Crooklyn was a shock and a revelation. In one pivotal scene, as his wife confronts him about money, Lindo does something technically stunning. His voice cracks upward into a near whine, the sound of a proud man quietly collapsing under the weight of his own unmet dreams. His filmography after Crooklyn is a roll call of standout performances. Clockers, 1995. Get Shorty, 1995. The Cider House Rules, 1999. Gone in 60 Seconds, 2000. In voicing a character in Pixar's Up, 2009. His television work includes The Good Fight, 2017 to 2021, and Unprisoned. Then in 2020, Da 5 Bloods happened. For his role as Paul, a Vietnam War veteran, Lindo received the New York Film Critics Circle Award for Best Actor and the National Society of Film Critics Award for Best Actor. And in 2026, at 73 years old, he received his first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor for his role as Delta Slim in Ryan Coogler's Sinners, 2025. 5 decades in the industry, first Oscar nomination. The wait made it mean more. RuPaul, Bodega Woman. She appears for less than a minute. She's dancing in the aisle of a Brooklyn bodega, completely in her own world, while a bewildered Troy watches from the doorway. The credit reads simply, Bodega Woman. But that woman was RuPaul, and that brief cameo is now one of the most electrifying time capsules in 1990s cinema. RuPaul achieved international fame as a drag queen with the release of his debut single, Supermodel, You Better Work, in 1993, just 1 year before Crooklyn was released. He was already a fixture on New York's underground club scene, but mainstream America was only beginning to find him. His appearance in the film wasn't a star turn. It was a snapshot of a cultural earthquake in its first tremors. What came next reshaped entertainment entirely. He produces, hosts, and judges RuPaul's Drag Race, and has received 14 Primetime Emmy Awards, a Tony Award, and a Guinness World Records title. He has been dubbed Queen of Drag and is considered the most commercially successful drag queen in the United States. In 2017, Time magazine placed him on its annual list of the 100 most influential people in the world. In 2018, he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, the first drag queen ever to receive one. Looking back at that bodega scene now, knowing what he became, it hits differently. The world didn't know yet. Crooklyn captured him just before the explosion. Wild, joyful, completely uncontained, dancing to Joe Cuba in a Brooklyn corner store while a 9-year-old girl stared in total confusion. That confusion was the whole point. And 30 years later, the joke's on anyone who thought it was just a cameo. Christopher Knowings, Nate Carmichael. He was 13 years old when a teacher encouraged him to audition for a Spike Lee film. Christopher Lawrence Knowings was born in the Bronx, New York, and landed a co-starring role in Crooklyn at age 13 as Nate Carmichael. For many child actors, a role like that is the peak. For Knowings, it was the beginning of something far longer. After Crooklyn, he built a steady television career. Guest appearances on New York Undercover, Law & Order, and 100 Center Street. Then came Nickelodeon's Taina, 2001, where he played Lamar Johnson. He helped launch the television career of his twin sister Christy by helping her land a role on All That, marking the first time siblings starred on separate shows on the same network. But the role that defined his adult career arrived in 2007. He joined the cast of Sesame Street in season 38, playing Chris Robinson, nephew of Gordon and Susan, working at Hooper's store. He has remained on the show ever since, becoming one of its most beloved human cast members. He received Daytime Emmy Award nominations for Outstanding Performer in a Children's Series in 2009 and 2010. The full circle is remarkable. A kid who played on Brooklyn streets in Crooklyn, grew up to help teach the next generation of children on the most iconic educational program in television history. Nate Carmichael ran wild through a brownstone. Chris Robinson hands out snacks at Hooper's store. Same man. 30 years of showing up. Shariff Rasheed, Wendell Carmichael. Of the four brothers in Crooklyn, Shariff Rasheed, who played the mischievous Wendell Carmichael, is the one who stayed in the industry and built a career through consistent, grounded work. No overnight stardom, no tabloid moments. Just decades of showing up to serious sets and doing the job. After Crooklyn, Rasheed accumulated a filmography that reads like a tour through prestige television's golden era. He appeared in Blue in the Face, 1995, the companion piece to Smoke, shot the same year as Crooklyn in Brooklyn. He then moved steadily through some of the most critically acclaimed TV dramas of their era: NYPD Blue, Third Watch, The Shield, and most notably, The Sopranos, a show so selective about its casting that appearing in it at all is its own credential. He also worked in theater and maintained a presence in independent film, including Hell's Kitchen. What his career demonstrates is something Crooklyn itself was really about: the dignity of steady, unglamorous commitment. Not every actor needs to become a household name to have a meaningful career. Rasheed understood that early. In the context of the film, Wendell was the wild card, the brother most likely to cause chaos, most likely to drag everyone else into it. Off-screen, the actor who played him chose the opposite path. Disciplined, professional, present. 30 years of working in an industry that chews through talent and spits it out, and Shariff Rasheed is still standing. Mock Washington, Joseph Carmichael. His name is frequently misspelled. Transcripts have called him Smack Washington, a nickname that's stuck in internet lore but bears no resemblance to his actual name. The record? His name is Mock Washington, and he played Joseph Carmichael, the quiet middle brother in Crooklyn. After the film, he had a small number of additional credits. He appeared as a kid in a record store in Kevin Smith's Chasing Amy, 1997, and had a role in an episode of Law & Order. Then, like several of his co-stars, he stepped back from the spotlight, deliberately or otherwise. There are no further verified acting credits to his name. What his story represents is actually something Crooklyn understood better than most films. Not every life is built for public consumption. The film was never about making stars. It was about capturing ordinary people in extraordinary specificity. Joseph Carmichael was not the loudest brother, not the one with the most screen time, but he was essential to the texture of that household. And Mock Washington brought him to life with a kind of naturalism that Spike Lee and Joey Lee were looking for from all the children. Real kids, not performers playing at being kids. Whatever path he chose after the camera stopped, he left his mark on one of the most personal films in American cinema. Carlton Williams, Clinton Carmichael. Here is what we know. Carlton Williams played Clinton Carmichael, the oldest brother, the character most directly based on Spike Lee himself as a child. In the film, Clinton is the teenager obsessed with the Knicks, the one who skips his father's piano recital to watch a playoff game, the one caught between boyhood and something harder. It is, in many ways, the most emotionally layered of the brother roles. And here is what we do not know. Almost everything that came after. Carlton Williams is listed in the credits as Clinton. Beyond that, there are no verified further acting credits, no public interviews, no confirmed information about where his life went after Crooklyn. He is, in the vocabulary of internet film culture, a mystery. That silence is its own kind of statement. In a film made entirely from real memories, playing the character closest to Spike Lee's own self, and then simply walking away from the industry, there is something quietly poetic about that. Not every story needs a sequel. Not every person who touches something extraordinary is consumed by it. Carlton Williams appeared in one of the defining American films of the 1990s, at the center of its most personal narrative, and then disappeared back into private life. 30 years later, fans are still asking where he went. The answer, if there is one, belongs only to him. So here's the question nobody wants to answer directly. Does Spike Lee deserve the lion's share of the credit for Crooklyn? Or did he build his most personal film on the foundation his sister Joey laid, then put his name above hers? Joey wrote it. Joey lived it. Joey could only watch it once before the grief became too much. Where exactly is the line between collaboration and ownership? Drop your honest take in the comments below. And if this video made you see something you hadn't seen before, share it, because that's exactly what Remembered Lives channel exists to do. The forgotten half of every famous story, told the way it deserves to be told.